I've got my sledgehammer. It's a bad time to be an ant.
You are Locked On Vandy, your daily podcast on the Vanderbilt Commodores, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome into the Locked On Vandy podcast on the Locked On Podcast Network. I'm your host, Corey Burton. Well, Ryan Williams has provided some bulletin board material for Vandy via his recent appearance on Inside the FFCA with John Gruden. Is Bama worried about Vanderbilt? Is Vanderbilt on the map now? They must have done quite a number on them last year. And, Diego Pavia, he was struggling to find some motivation. He can't find any motivation anywhere. Well, here you go. So what does this game look like in 2025 now? It's going to be interesting, that's for sure. And then ESPN also came out with the recent Football Power Index rankings. And where does Vandy fall on that list? And is there some disrespect there again? Like, are people sleeping on Vandy? Well, we'll get into all of that here in just a few minutes. But I want to thank you for making Locked On Vandy your first listen each and every day. Thank you for however you got here, wherever you came from. If you're an everydayer, thank you. If you're a first timer, thank you. If you just happen to be walking by and seeing me killing ants with sledgehammers, thank you for stopping by. And we are free and available wherever you get your podcast and on YouTube as a part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. And today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can bet $200 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. Think about that. So let's get into it, because this is a very, very interesting deal here with what's going on. And, say what you want to say about bulletin board material, about, whatever you want to go there with. Bulletin board material is kind of a crazy thing, because it is, a lot of people find that it can be fake juice. A lot of people have their opinion on bulletin board material. A lot of people think it's irrelevant, but in all honesty, like, these games need juice, right? And I think it's a really good thing in all seriousness. I'm about to have a lot of fun with this recent quote by Ryan Williams, but I think it's an important part of what makes football so good, when the players start talking trash to each other a little bit. And this wasn't like a huge deal personal attack. It was some good old fashioned trash talk, and I absolutely love it. I think Diego Pavia has probably got something for him. And this game is going to have a lot more juice now than before. I mean, it was already going to be pretty spectacular with the whole revenge factor, but now there's a little bit more involved in it. Here's kind of what was happening. Here's the tweet. The original tweet was via @BarstoolGruden. I took the screen capture from On3 when they reported on it. But Ryan Williams says, "We're going to kill an ant with a sledgehammer." So my thoughts on this. Okay, let's talk about how in any year other than this year, he probably just blows this question off. He probably just breezes it right on by. He doesn't say a word. He just laughs it off, said, okay, yeah. And goes on about his business, right? Because it's just little old Vandy. But he goes on to say, we're going to kill. He goes on to kind of laugh nervously. You can see this expression on his face. He's like, he doesn't know what to say. He knows that Vandy controlled the game. He knows that their offense was, for them, held someone in check. They made some plays, but they weren't able to make enough when it counted. They know that Vandy, despite the 5-point game, it was a high-scoring affair. But I felt like Vandy was in control of that game, and he knows it. He nervously laughed. He didn't know what to do with it. And he comes out with, "We're going to kill an ant with a sledgehammer." And I don't know who the ant is, who the sledgehammer is at this point, because He's legitimately worried about this game. And as a program that was once considered so irrelevant that when you won a game, it was just dismissed as fluke, right? It was just dismissed as fluke. And so when you get into a situation now where one of the best wide receivers in college football is talking trash to you, you've made it. You're on the map. Like, you're a legitimate program. And so, this has got to make you feel good as a program for Vanderbilt, because you're heading in the right direction. Bama is legitimately worried about you. Do you think they'd be worried about you with Nick Saban there? Not a chance. Do you think this would ever happen with Nick Saban? Not a chance. They're not worried about Vanderbilt under Nick Saban. They're worried about Vanderbilt under Kaylin Dbor, because he knows they outplayed them. 42-18 in time of possession. That's what won Vanderbilt the game. Alabama couldn't get the ball enough, and they turned it over early. They wasted one of their possessions on a pick six. They gave up a big 4th and 1 on a shot play. Like, Vandy had their number, and now Vandy's got to go down to Tuscaloosa. So this is great, man. It's a situation to where now you've made this game important. You've made this game really important. It was important enough that you didn't lose to Vanderbilt twice in a row. That's important enough. But now you throw this out there, we're going to kill an ant with a sledgehammer. You throw that out there. I guess that's an idiom. Some imagery, some pretty funny imagery. I can just see him out there with a sledgehammer just trying to kill an ant. Like, I want to see the literal I want to see that scenario literally play out. I want to see him swinging the sledgehammer at an ant on the sidewalk. That'd be hilarious. But it just, to me, it shows that you're legitimately worried about this game. Does Bama need to be worried? I mean, they need to control the tempo. They dominated on 3rd down. They didn't have many answers for Diego Pavia. They've got an improved roster now. Defensively, Vanderbilt was able to disrupt Jalen Milroe. And Jalen Milroe was a 3rd-round pick in the NFL draft. And I thought had a lackluster year at quarterback. He's still a 3rd-round talent. I don't know, man. Like, this ain't a slam dunk. Hey, what do you guys think? Bulletin board material. Diego Pavia, if you're listening, I need you on the show. I need to hear your response to this. But I mean, this is going to be an interesting offseason now. Leading up to this game, there's going to be some interesting smack talk going on, especially on Instagram, especially on social media. There's going to be some things traded. This is going to get into a pretty testy game, and I absolutely love it. Vanderbilt's relevant enough to poke the bear, right? Vandy is relevant enough to poke the bear. And I said in the lead-in, Diego Pavia really struggles to find motivation. I say that very tongue-in-cheek. That guy doesn't need any motivation. That guy he's just motivated. This could be a game of checkers with nothing at stake, and he's motivated. Not only are you going for 2 in a row over Bama, now you got this. I mean, when it comes to mindset and like getting fuel for the fire, Diego Pavia is kind of hang with me on this comparison. He's kind of like Michael Jordan in that regard. He can fabricate some things to get himself pumped up, ready to play. Like, in The Last Dance, where he talked about the LeBradford Smith story with Michael Jordan, how he fabricated some sort of slight, some sort of jab at him so that he could embarrass this guy. I think Diego Pavia could very well take this quote, this very inconspicuous quote on inside the FFCA when John Gruden was pressing Ryan Williams about Vanderbilt. I mean, Gruden put him on the hot seat. He looked nervous, man. Look at the smile. Look at the nervousness in this smile. You can't see my cursor circling, but look at this smile is like, Vanderbilt. Yeah. We got something for you. And it was like he was trying to come up with something quick. And so I think Vanderbilt, they've gotten to, and this is where I'm, proud of the program. They've gotten to the point where Alabama is now talking trash. They are now sitting there. It seems like Ryan Williams is worried about Vanderbilt. They're giving him something to worry about. Like Diego Pavia is looming right there. They don't want, the pressure is on Alabama. They can't lose to Vanderbilt twice in a row. The pressure is on them. Now Ryan Williams put this out there. They have to back it up. The pressure is on. You have to figure out the quarterback situation there. You have to figure out a way to stop Diego Pavia and first-round talent Eli Stowers and the running game. Like Vanderbilt's roster's even better than the one that beat you a year ago. This is going to be no walk in the park, and they just put a lot of pressure on themselves. So, but how does this game actually shake out? How does it look? We'll talk about that next, and I wish FanDuel had some odds on that. I really, really wish they did. But instead, right now, you're going to have to just settle for the NBA playoffs. They're in full swing. It's NBA Finals time. It's Pacers versus Thunder. Someone's going to win their first ever NBA championship. So this is going to be very exciting. There's major momentum shifts, can't miss moments, game-winning shots, breakout players, all of that stuff, man. There's never better time to get in on the action. FanDuel makes it easy to stay in the game before tip-off and live. With player props, performance trends, and same-game parlays, fans have more ways than ever to play smart and win big. So I'm going to go big on the on the Thunder in this series. I think SGA is going to have a monster series, so I'm going to take a lot of prop bets that he's in on to hopefully hit and use my $200 in bonus bets to get there. So, are you new to FanDuel? Well, it's a perfect time to sign up. Head to FanDuel.com and place your first $5 bet. If it wins, you'll get $200 in bonus bets. So make every moment more with FanDuel, official sports betting partner of the NBA. All right, welcome back. Thanks for making Locked On Vandy your first listen each and every day. We appreciate you everydayers. We appreciate you first-timers, long-timers, loyal second and third segment listeners, whoever you are, however you got here. Thank you, thank you, thank you. If you're here on the audio side, I'm waving to you. I'm giving you a thumbs up. Thank you for being part of the show. All right, so the bulletin board material is there. They've pinned it up. It is there. They're playing it over and over again. I'm sure Diego Pavia has got something for it. But how does this game actually look? Okay, take the trash talk out of it. Take a lot of things out of it. How does this game look? Okay, when you throw in everything about this game, you have to look at it and say, okay, we have to walk it back and go, okay, what does this game look like? It's in Tuscaloosa, so that gives you a little bit of trouble there, okay, because Tuscaloosa is a tough place to win. Okay, if I'm being honest. But South Carolina went in there, should have won. And this is not the same Nick Saban teams. Like, I think Dbor is still trying to find his way. I'm not sure that he has. I don't know what that looks like. I don't know what Ty Simpson's going to look like under this Ryan Grubb system. You have to think because of the recent history of Kaylin Dbor at Washington and how he turned that program around from the 0-12 program that he took over to a national runner-up 2 seasons ago. And you have to take that in consideration when you think about his trajectory as a head coach at Alabama. You have to think he's going to get better. Things are going to improve, right? That's just the conventional wisdom. He's got his guy now. He's got a quarterback that seemingly fits within the system. So what does that look like? But in all seriousness, it's Alabama. It's the SEC. There's plenty of great coaches like Kaylin Dbor that have washed out of this league. And so it's not out of the realm of possibility that a coach of his caliber could possibly wash out of Alabama and struggle. That's a possibility. If he can't find his footing, if he can't quite get the roster makeup just the way he wants it, if Ty Simpson is not quite the guy that everyone had hoped for and thought of, if he's just okay, like I don't know if a just okay quarterback is going to be able to function in this league, a league that's extremely deep and extremely wide open, right? Because there's no dominant team. Like Alabama is no longer the dominant roster thanks to the portal, thanks to NIL. Things have evened out. There is a lot more parity. So what do you do with that information? Now, Alabama's still got a hell of a roster. Don't get me wrong. So all you Alabama fans that are going to come in from the top rope, you've got a really talented roster still. Saban did not leave the cupboard bare by any stretch of the imagination. And Kaylin Dbor has brought in some good talent. It's Alabama. Okay. But in game, what do you do with that? How do you manage that talent? How do you get that talent in a position to win football games? Now, I know it's crazy to think that 9-3 is completely unacceptable in the regular season, which at Bama it is. So now you get a lot of pressure on you. You get a lot of that it's added, if you ask me, unnecessary pressure, to be honest, but it's added pressure that you didn't have. And now you have to perform. And the coaches aren't the only ones that feel that pressure. The players feel it too, because now they're professional athletes. They feel it too. So why does all that matter? Because at the time they play Vanderbilt, here's the schedule. By the time October 4th rolls around, you could be looking at a team that's starting to fall apart. You could be looking at a team that's breaking in a freshman quarterback, Keelan Russell. You could be looking at a team. You could also be looking at a team that could be making a run for the playoff. All right. So there's two sides of the coin, but there is that chance. And with that chance, I think if you add this bulletin board material, you add the pressure of last year's result, you add the pressure of you finish 9-3 and people aren't happy about that after being spoiled by Nick Saban. You add in the pressure of you're Alabama and you're supposed to win, regardless of what you did anyway. You're supposed to win, minus all that. Now you have to win because of all that, and you get shellacked by Oklahoma, and you get beat by Tennessee. You have to win those games. You have to win those games. You have to win big. I don't know if that pressure is there. And Vanderbilt can expose that. Because the thing that Vanderbilt did, the way Vanderbilt won that game, is they forced Alabama to play Vanderbilt style of football, which is very disjointed, which is very slow, very clunky. They forced them to play their style of football. You can't get a rhythm that way. If you're a rhythm-based team, you can't get in a rhythm with 18 minutes of time of possession. You just can't do it. You're going to hit some shots here and there, but it's not going to be enough. And you're not. And if your offense is not on the field very long and your defense is getting worn out, that's trouble. I don't care how talented you are. You play a lot of plays. If your defense is on the field for 43 minutes of a football game, that ain't good, man. That's going to test your depth for sure. And so the main thing that Vanderbilt has to do to back this statement up is they're going to have to take back control of the tempo. They're going to have to force Vandy to play with more urgency. I don't know that Alabama's established complete buy-in to their tempo versus the buy-in that Vandy has for their tempo and their philosophy. All right. And another big thing Vandy did was they won on third down. They stayed on the field, they moved the chains, and they got off the field on third down for the most part. Now, it was a 40-35 game, so there was some points scored. But for the most part, Vandy won the third down matchups. Vandy had some gutsy calls throughout the game, too. 4th and 1, you throw a shot play, and you hit it. That's just gutsy calls and gutsy execution by two really good players. And so how's this game going to look? Well, if Alabama doesn't control the tempo, it's over. If Vanderbilt is allowed to play their style of football, which is slow it down, control the ball, control the clock, we're going to see two in a row. If and only if Alabama can come out with a big tempo, hit some big plays early, put Vandy on their heels, and make this a tempo game, I think you'll see Alabama win. But now it's going to be who's going to back up their trash talk. And Diego Pavia is in a position, probably more so than Ryan Williams, to do so. So this game just got really interesting. I love it. I'm all for all the bulletin board talk. Let's keep that up. This is going to be October 4th is going to be an interesting week. It's going to be interesting leading up to that between these two squads. This ain't over for sure. But here it's the Ant Farm versus I don't even know who makes hammers, so that joke goes by the wayside. But anyway, the football power rankings come out. And you talk about disrespect. Ooh, this ain't good. We'll talk about it. Yo. Welcome back. Wrapping up the show here, Locked On Vandy. Thanks for making us your first listen at Locked On Vandy. If you want to follow along, if you want to give us feedback, if you want to comment on this bulletin board material, if you want to kill a few ants with some sledgehammers, come on in. This is the perfect place to go. All right. If you want to talk about this Bama game, and I know a lot of Bama fans are probably going to see this and jump in here and say Bama by a million, and it's going to be interesting, kind of see who does what. And I will take my medicine if October 4th rolls around and doesn't go in Vandy's favor. I will take my medicine. I will read. As long as they're not too nasty, I will read some comments. I will admit, all that stuff. I will take my medicine. I'll eat my crow, whatever it is you want to say. All right. I promise you. I'll hold to that. Okay. But as of right now, I'm going to have fun with it. And it should be fun. I'm not coming after Ryan Williams about it. I think it's fun. I think it's, I'm having a little fun at his expense, but I'm not, I mean, no disrespect to Ryan Williams. I think it's, all in good fun. I think, providing these trash talking opportunities are very good. And I am gonna use the sledgehammer and ant reference a lot because I think it's hilarious. And I really do think Bama's worried about Vanderbilt. Like I think this is a thing here, right? I think that's a good thing for Vandy that somebody is worried about you because you beat them last year and they're worried about beating you. They have to make mention of that. Like, you don't nervously come out with that if you're not worried about it, right? It's pretty obvious. So, anyway, let's talk about FPI, Football Power Index. ESPN came out with the Football Power Index. Here are the rankings. I have sorted them via the SEC to leave out all the irrelevant people that don't belong in the greatest conference in all the land. That's what Chris Gordy would say. No, I'm just kidding. All right, anyway. Vanderbilt at 56. This bothers me. This really bothers me. Because Mississippi State won 2 games last year, and they ain't got much coming back. Like, where are they? Like, 4 spots ahead of Vanderbilt? Like, I get that they're not – I get that Vanderbilt's not the best team in the league, but dang, man. Like 56? Like, you're below Rutgers and Duke and Cincinnati? UCLA had a terrible season. UNLV at 42? Kentucky, you beat Kentucky, and arguably you have a better roster now than Kentucky. Like, you've built things in the offseason. Like, I'm looking at the overall rankings. You can't see the overall rankings, but the Rutgers Scarlet Knights are at 55. NC State is at 57. Michigan State was putrid last year. They're sitting at 59. Right? It's head scratching to me, honestly. you beat Kentucky, and you controlled that game. Like Kentucky was never in that game. Mississippi State finished 2-10 last year, and they didn't get much better. I think Missouri might be a little bit low. Arkansas, I think Vanderbilt should be in the 30s at the very worst. I think they should be in the 30s. Like some of the other teams that are in the 30s. Okay, here's some other teams that are in the 30s. Texas Tech, Tulane. You lose your star quarterback to Duke. You're 36. Baylor, that's about right. TCU, maybe about right. You beat Georgia Tech in a bowl game, and Georgia Tech's 28. You dominated in a bowl game. You beat Virginia Tech, who lost a bunch in the portal. They got Kyron Jones coming back, but they're sitting at 26. I don't know, man. Like, I don't know. And coming in dead last is the Kent State Golden Flashes. And the Vandy State Aggie Doors, I guess all right. So you got 1 games. It measures a team's true strength based on net point scale, expected point margin versus average opponent on a neutral field. Projected win total. I don't know. I know it's metrics. I know there's numbers involved. I don't like it. I don't like they're at 56. I think this is a scenario. They have some NFL talent on their roster. They've improved their roster from a team that won 7 games a year ago. Like, how are they last in the SEC? How? And I want you guys to join in on this, because you get Eli Stowers, who's going to be a first-round NFL talent. I think your center, Jordan White's going to be a day 2 guy. I think you got some other NFL guys within that roster, whether they're NFL guys next year or years after when they're eligible. But you get a deeper roster, and this team should have won 9 games last year. And I say should have, and coulda, woulda, shoulda is never going to really get you anywhere. But you lose inexcusable loss to Georgia State. Okay, that's 8 wins. Well, assuming you win the bowl game, so let's start at 6. So that's 7 wins regular season. You don't doink the field goal at Missouri. That's 8 wins, and you take Texas to the wire, who is widely considered the number 1 team in the country. They've got a lot of questions at number 1. So I get the schedule's ridiculously hard. You're playing Texas, Bama, Tennessee, LSU, Auburn, South Carolina, Missouri, and Kentucky. You're playing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of your games against top 15 preseason teams. And you're playing 6, 7, and then 8 within the top 30, including Virginia Tech. I don't know. It's numbers, but this is one of those scenarios, and I've talked about it before. Numbers don't tell the whole story. Computer rankings, projections, power index rankings, it's all, I think, just fodder. I don't think it tells the whole story. I really don't. I think when you look at how these numbers are calculated and you look at what happens on the field, I don't think that takes things into account, because I don't think Mississippi State, Kentucky, hell, even Missouri right now, Arkansas would be a toss-up. Florida would be a toss-up. I don't think any of those teams are head and shoulders or significantly or definitively better than Vanderbilt. The only 2 out of those 5 teams I just named, only 2 of them would be toss-ups. 3 maybe Missouri. Florida would be a toss-up. Arkansas would be a toss-up. Missouri, it'd be competitive. It could go either way, but I think it favors Vandy. And then Kentucky and Mississippi State, like I think Vandy would beat those two teams again, right? I think they have a legitimate shot against South Carolina. I mean, you've lost 16 in a row. I think for that fact alone, you're due, and you get them early in the season, which South Carolina always struggles early in the season. They get better as the season goes. It's the kind of story of how they are. Tennessee, you get Joey Aguilar. Like they got worse at quarterback, maybe. I don't know. LSU is going to be a tough one to win. Texas obviously is going to be a tough one to win. Alabama, for reasons I just named, I think that game you have a better shot now. Now that you have this whole extra set of motivation there, I don't know, man. Like you look at this, 56. Like what are we talking about here, right? And then you look at the trash talk, and then like you look at the SP Plus rankings where you're in the 50s, and like you look at the FanDuel, you look at this, 4.5 wins for a team that improved their roster. You think that's only good for 2 wins? Like I don't know. Like people don't have a lot of faith in Vanderbilt. That's okay. That's okay. They Vanderbilt as a program hasn't earned that level of respect. So we'll see. We'll see it play out. But that's all I got for you guys. So go find an ant, go take a sledgehammer, and record your. No, don't do that. Just kidding. Thanks for listening to the show. Like, subscribe, all the good stuff. We'll see you back here next time. Locked on Vandy. Peace.